All right, hi everybody. So I'm back. There's some things that I needed to talk about regarding how God got me into this space. Okay, so on Sunday, I was able to stay in a hotel because I did as God asked, which was to ask my cousin and my uncle and my boss for a loan. And then on Monday, Monday morning or Sunday night when I was at the hotel, God led me to ask my uncle if he would wait for a later date for me to pay him back. Now, it's not a lot of money that I asked for. I asked for $20 for my cousin because I already owed him $30, and I asked for $40 for my uncle. The numbers, 7, 5, and then I asked for $20 for my boss. Now, an interesting thing about my boss wants to get promoted. He wants to become a general manager of his own store. He wants to be able to financially provide for his family without living paycheck to paycheck. And I know God has multiple assignments within an assignment for me. At least that's how it's happened. So I have been a general manager in my past. I have run my own store. I have managed my own restaurant, working for a corporation, or back then it was a partnership, I believe. Anyway, so I understood what it took to become that next level. And God has been leading me to mentor this man in his thinking and how he needs to view managing his shifts, managing the store, managing the employees, managing expectations and things like that. Well, all of this, him sowing, and that's basically what he did by lending me the money, regardless of me having to pay it back. By lending me that money, he essentially sowed into me, into fertile ground. Now, there are some monies that God will not have me return. For example, the gifts that he leads people to give me. And in all honesty, the gifts that I've received from Tara and from Dina, those are the first seeds or gifts. I'm still learning about that stuff because I've never received it like that before. Usually, if I sow a seed into someone or I do something for someone that Father leads me to do, He gives it back to me in other ways, whether it's someone speaking into me an uplifting word, or it's someone giving me something that's valued in the amount that I gave, that God had led me to give. So as I was getting ready so early in the morning on Monday, let me back up, God said, go ahead and look for a place that you'd want to stay. Now, He has had me keep a lot of things in my mind, not spoken, because there are monitoring spirits. Even if they're not people around you, there are monitoring spirits. Insects are monitoring spirits. Animals are monitoring spirits. The type of animals that are around you have monitoring spirits on them. The people that are around you have monitoring spirits on them. If an individual is not walking with God, when you're out walking the walk that God has put forth in front of you, you're going to encounter people that are not of God, that are not yet listening to what God is telling them. They hear His voice. They call it gut instinct. They call it intuition. They call it everything but God. They're not there yet. So these individuals have opened doors to Lucifer and his demonic entities. And they're not looking to be good to you. You know, they're always looking to try and get you to accept the not perfect things in your life. So I'm picking out all these things, and in my mind, I had already chosen this house, mainly because of the master bedroom. I wasn't too thrilled about potentially having to share the space, the main common space, which is the kitchen, the living room, the pool table, the guest bathroom, with strangers. But God led me to pray over this house before I even made the commitment. He led me to pray that no individual, not of him, will be able to successfully rent the spaces that are left. Because God doesn't want anyone that's not of him being in my vicinity when he's trying to give me peace and calm. Now, I did this before I even booked the space. And so I booked the space, and immediately it's, okay, well, you now have to give us your address, and I don't live anywhere. And God goes, use the address on your license. I'm like, okay. So I did. There was no hiccups on that. Then they said that I would have to verify who I am through this company, and I would have to either purchase a waiver, assurance waiver, or I would have to pay a deposit of but it didn't say how much, and so I prayed over that, and I said, Father, if they ask me to give a deposit, or if the waiver is, more than I can comfortably pay, I'm going to be left with no money for food and for gas and for and I said, the things I need. I need this. I need your help. I need you to come in and take care of me in this situation. So they finally sent me the link, the same, like late at night, around 11 o'clock on Monday night. And I'm like, really? I'm supposed to be in this space tomorrow. They've already taken my money and it's non-refundable. So I'm hawing. Okay, so I complete the information, and then it gets to the waiver. And the waiver says you can either pay a deposit of $100 with a $3 fee, or you can pay $15 and the insurance will cover it, whatever damage is done. $15, thank you. Not that I'm going to be doing any damage, but I'm actually looking around today and I do see some damage from previous tenants. And I'm just going to make sure that I document the information, I provide it to them so that I'm not liable for any of it. And regardless of whether or not I got the insurance, what you have to realize is these rental properties, when you make a claim on the insurance, that's a red mark against you. So if I need to rent another Airbnb for another period of time, I need to have a clean slate so that there are no hindrances or no delays in receiving, the acceptance. Okay, so then I get here to the property and I have not received the code. And well, I was on my way. It was 10 minutes away. So I sent a message saying, hey, I haven't received the code for the door because it's not a key lock, it's a code lock because it's remote controlled. And it says that the host takes about an hour to respond, and it's 10 minutes before I've got to be inside, before 4 o'clock, because that was check-in time. Now here's the kicker. Earlier in the morning, I had a coworker reach out to me and say, hey, can you work for me tonight because I can't make it. I have issues with my neck, and I was on vacation and blah, blah, blah. And I said, sure. And she offered to pay me $20. Now the first time So it's two sisters that work in the same place. One was already working there. The other one started to try and help her sister remove me. It's a long story. Anyway, so this individual decided that, every time she asks me to work for her, she gives me $20. And the first time I worked for her sister offered me $20 as well, and I declined, said, no, I'm good. I'm not going to charge you for going to work. And God said, how am I supposed to bless you if you're not going to receive? And I was like, uh-oh. So now these people are paying me to work their schedules. And this girl has paid me $40. Oh my goodness. Okay, so on Monday when I was at work, or on Tuesday. Yes, Tuesday when I came into work, because I was working on Tuesday. I stayed at a hotel. I was scheduled to work from 11 to the rush. And that was fine with me. I was good. But there was another individual who was working in the kitchen. And this individual, Father has already told me or made me aware that I need to be careful around her because she is stealing. And they haven't caught her yet. So when she's up front, I am very, very careful and very meticulous about ensuring that I log off completely from the computer. Because if not, they can access the computer under your name and get access to the cash register. There was a situation that occurred with a customer and a misunderstanding that I had with the general manager. And he was upset. I mean, livid. But this man is a child. He reminds me so much of my ex-husband. There is so much of a childish attitude. This man is in his 40s and he acts like he's 12. He has temper tantrums. And this is one of the men that God said, this is an option. And I'm like, no, no, I've been through this before. He'll break my heart. He'll cheat on me. He'll do all kinds of things and try. And eventually Father will bring him back to him because I will have prayed. I will have done all of the things that God has asked me to do in order to bring him back to him. But that is not God's perfect partner for me. And there is another individual that is going to show up, that is going to reflect another person that could have potentially become a partner. But again, he negated everything that God offered him and he walked away. And during that entire time we were together, I never, ever, ever crossed that line because God said not to. He said, if you cross that line, everything that comes with it to me will be disgusting and I will spit it out. So I knew what I was getting myself into and I said no. So that was that. And I did have a dream when I was in California that my ex-husband and this man were in the same car in my truck. The truck was representing me as a vessel. They both had access to me. They were both supposed to be for me, but they chose to leave God's side. So they walked away from God, meaning they walked away from me. And so God showed me, he pulled a van. So these individuals were in a car, or in my truck, in front of me. I was in another car, a white car, representing God. I was with God. And I was trying to catch up to them to get them out of my car. And then God brought a white van and parked it right in front of me, telling me that that door is now closed and they will no longer be allowed to return. Meaning that those two individuals I will never have to see again. However, the spirits that are familiar to me that are over those individuals will try to come back. And manipulate me into being with individuals that are not the person that God has for me. Okay. Oh, and so at the end of the day, this was around 4 o'clock. The general manager, was counting down the drawers for the next shift. So we share the drawers, but we are supposed to sign in under our individual number in order to get access into the computer and into the cash register. However, if you forget to log off, someone could potentially ring up a customer under your name, as well as take orders under your name over the phone. So I have been very diligent because God has been on me about that. So before the manager counted down the drawer, around 1 o'clock in the afternoon, he needed to go to the bank to make a deposit and to get change or whatever else needed to happen. So he walked out the door. When he walked out the door, I looked at the other girl at the counter because she's training to become a manager. And when an opening happens, she will take that spot as chief crew or a shift manager. Well, so she was cleaning the lobby and cleaning some tables, and I was making boxes. And when she came by, I said, hey, I'm going to go do dishes, but I wanted to let you know so that you could be up front to cover any customers. I said, if you run into any, like if you get busy, just, have the other person call me. Since she was in the kitchen, the relay would have been much faster than trying her going all the way to the dish area and calling me to the front. Okay. So she told me, can you hang on for a few minutes while I finish cleaning the lobby, and then you can go wash the dishes? And I'm like, okay. What I don't remember is if I logged off the computer, because there is one register I like using, which is the register that God has highlighted to me that I am to work with. So I can't for the life of me, after I heard what happened, I can't for the life of me remember if I logged off the computer. So I was back in the dishes, and I was doing dishes, and I was getting them all done. And the manager returned from the bank, and he saw me doing dishes, and he's like, you're doing dishes? And I'm like, yeah. Because no position is beneath me. I do dishes, I clean the bathrooms, I do the things that need to get done because that's part of the job. And he comes back around, like, I don't know, 5-10 minutes later, and he's like, whoa, you're almost done? I'm like, of course. It doesn't take that long to wash dishes. Having experience washing dishes helps because I can get the dishes done faster than most folks. So at the end of the day, of course, then this situation occurred, and the manager was now upset. And as he's counting down the middle drawer, which is the drawer that I was mainly using, and I do remember the person that was in the kitchen coming up to the front when we got a little busy, and she used the register next to me. And technically she wasn't supposed to be up front helping with the customers on the register, because her position during that period of time was to be in the kitchen making the pizzas and cooking them. So when she came up front, the manager told her, you're not supposed to be up there. That the two of them can handle this. Go back and make pizzas. So she did. She left and she went to go make pizzas, and we managed the line of people and got them taken care of. So I already knew that she took advantage of certain opportunities to get to the front. When the manager counted down the drawer that I had been using, the drawer came up short $24. Now, if you remember, I have been mentioning that God has been showing me numbers, 2, 4, 24, and now this drawer is $24 short. He was warning me that this was going to happen. So the general manager made a decision. I thought that now I was going to be under scrutiny because, money came up short on a drawer I was using. Well, because I did all of the obedient things that I did with doing what God had asked me to do, the movements that he's been making, me getting in this house. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention that I couldn't even get into, so the bedroom doors have individual locks, and there's specific codes that go to those doors. And I spent almost the entire time that I was supposed to be, relaxing and enjoying my stay, or the beginning of my stay, I was having to try and figure out how I was going to get into this room. I'm like, well, there is couches. I could sleep on the couch. The dog could sleep on the floor. I was already making the adjustment in my head. And God's like, no, keep praying, keep praying. I'm like, okay. So I kept praying and praying and praying. Finally, we were able to get all of the doors open that I needed to have access to. Oh my goodness. And then after work, God's like, you need to go get groceries. I'm like, but I'm so tired. I just worked and he goes, well, you need breakfast. At least get breakfast items. So at first he said, you know what? Don't worry about it. You can do it early in the morning tomorrow. I'm like, okay. And then as I was driving to get here, he's like, you're already on the freeway. So he sent me to the store that I know is 24 hours. I got to the store and he led me to buy some wine and some shrimp fried rice and some broccoli, some chicken and broccoli fried rice, and then some eggs and bacon and some breakfast items. And when I got here, I realized I was starving. So he's like, well, good thing you bought some shrimp fried rice and some broccoli with chicken. So I went and I finally did get to eat dinner and with a glass of wine. And I put ice in the wine because it was warm, it wasn't cold. And God's like, go sit outside for a minute. I'm like, okay. So I went and I sat outside, looked at the stars, and I was just like, I'm still in awe. I'm so floored by the change of events and how quickly they happened. Because I thought I was going to have to live in my car for 6 days because I had no money. And yes, I slept in my car for 1 day. I slept in my truck 1 day, which was Friday. So I left the condo on Wednesday. Tara was kind enough to sew into me on Wednesday afternoon. And so I stayed in a hotel. Because I was working that day. Did I work that day? No, I worked on Thursday. And Dana actually provided $40, and with the money that I received from work and asking my uncles and my cousin to borrow money and the manager, I was able to put $10 in gas, which gave me a quarter of a tank. Literally, this is how I've been doing it. God's like, okay, put $15 in the gas tank, and now you have a quarter of a tank. You'll get to and from work as much as you need, and then I'll give you more. And it's literally day by day. He's been spoon feeding me day by day, day by day. At work, I'd have no money for food. I have no money for food, and until I get paid, and then I can buy. If I'm staying in an Airbnb, now I don't have to use the money to pay for hotels on a day-to-day basis. I paid for a chunk of time, so now the little bit of money I have left, I can go and I can use it to buy food. I just bought $60, no, so I put 25, yeah, $80 worth of food with the money that I had left from my paycheck and the money that I had in cash. The $25, the $20 that this woman gave me yesterday, and then the tip money that God got for me. And I'm still like, And I still have a little bit of money. So he has me put money in my Bible. And I completely forgot about that money. And as I was leaving the store, I'm like, okay, at least I have food for the next few days. And he goes, but you still have money. And I'm looking at my account. I'm like, I still have $40. And I still have like $15 in my Bible. And I'm like, how, Father? And it brings me back to when Elijah said that you would be able to go to the market and buy a lot of things with a shekel. And I'm living it in real life. I mean, I should have been out of money. This house took almost $1,000 for 14 days. Almost $1,000. I was like I was like $20 away from 1,000. And I needed gas, which I put $40 in gas, $80 in gas, because I put $40 one day and then I put another $40 another day. And I just spent $80 for food, and plus the money that I spent last night, which was another $39. Plus, what else did I buy? What else did I buy? Plus, I paid back my cousin the $50 that I owed him, but I did ask my uncle to hold off on the $40 that I owe him. God will make the money last. The financial blessings that he brings to you will work in such a way that you will be able to pay for things and still have money left over. And I am so... He even took me to Dollar Tree today, because I'm almost out of toothpaste. So he sent me to Dollar Tree to buy toothpaste, and then he said, okay, now you need some things for the bath, because you're going to want to take a bath. So the bathroom in the master bedroom has a shower, but the bathroom in the hallway, which is the shared bathroom, is a bathtub. So I'm going to get to take a bath tonight after I go hiking, because he wants me to go hiking. Oh my gosh, I am just so... It is... And this house is in the style and comfort that I like. Like, it's not too fancy. It's kind of like a country, posh living room with a lot of organic material, like wood and trees and flowers and fake flowers, fake trees, but it's in my style. It's in the things that I like. I'm not a fan of white, but there's enough color here that it doesn't feel like I'm in a white house. I don't like white cabinets, mostly because it just feels stale. And so I like a little bit of color. I like a little bit of tradition, and I like wood. Wood to me is... God's a carpenter. And so today, after I go hiking, or maybe even before I go hiking, I'm going to jump in the pool and I'm going to have a swim, and I'm about to make a sandwich. When you don't understand how it is that God is wanting you to walk, and it doesn't make sense, like, why would I do that? Everything that he asks you to do is a window or a door in the future. By following God's will, following God's purpose, by me asking for this help from my family, it's doing two things. It is testing them, and it is testing me. Am I going to be obedient? Am I going to do what God wants me to do? Are they going to talk about me and say things about me that I'm not going to hear? Because guess what? If God says, close the door on this person and don't open it ever again, I won't. If I cut out my children and I cut out my adult children, they're not young children. These are all adults. They're in their mid to early 20s. And they all made a choice. They chose to listen to their father. They chose to be with their father, and they chose to walk away from God. Will they come back in my life? God has promised me that they will. In the spirit or in the natural, I will take it however He sees fit. There are family members that I will never ever have any contact with again. Their door has been closed and shut permanently. When I went to the store, I was going to go to a Mexican store because some of the prices there are a lot cheaper, because the people that go to those stores tend to be low-income families, Hispanic families that are trying to manage their expenses. The cost of the food tends to be much lower for a lot of things. But as I was driving by Fry's, which is a Kroger company, God said, pull in here. And I was like, I really don't like Fry's. He goes, I know. Pull in. And I'm like, okay. So I did. I pulled in. I did my shopping. Some of the prices were fine. Some things weren't. And I get to the register. So I was like, God's like, no, 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 this one. And I was like, okay. And the register number was 3. Yeah, number 3. And I was like, okay. No, it was 13, because they number their registers, including the self-serve registers. So this register was register 13. And I'm going to tell you why this is okay. So register 13, and I set my stuff on the on the conveyor belt, and the woman, the cashier was having a conversation with the lady the customer, and she was very friendly, very, smiling, and, just being very courteous. Then she starts ringing up my things, and this is her face. She's scanning. And as she gets towards the end of the items, her finger gets caught in the conveyor belt. Now, right before that happened, out of nowhere, I hear